Well, hi everyone, it's me, it's Jay Morse Review Guy, and I'm back again to bring you another video, and here I'm returning to one of my favorite videos to make, that being albums I liked. If you're new around here, what this is I go over the albums that got 8 out of 10s or higher in this previous month, the ones that I really don't want you to pass by, the ones that I want you to listen to, and just some basic recommendations and kind of a catch-up mechanism. I also got a couple honorable mentions this month that I'll get to in a minute. All of these reviews that I did of all of these albums are going to be in the description below if you want to go hear my in-depth thoughts, because I'm obviously not going to be able to talk as much about each individual one here as I did in those reviews. And in the end screen I'll also put the previous 2 months for albums I liked. So, you followed me? That understood? Let's get into it. So there's 2 albums that were very close to getting 8s that were kind of like strong 7s that I want to go ahead and shout out. The first of those being BTS's album, Map of the Soul Persona, or I guess EP. Really thought this was a nice comeback, and it would have gotten a higher score, but there were a couple tracks that I felt like were a little bit Some of the kind of dingy trap beats felt very stripped back, and despite the members' very exuberant, youthful energy that they applied to these tracks, none of them really felt like extremely BTS oriented. I'm talking about those tracks that weren't really that good. Songs like Microcosmos, a couple parts of Home, and especially some parts of Je M'avoue, which was a very good ballad, but did feel a little drab and campy a lot of times. Obviously, it's far from my favorite BTS comeback, but it's not without its strong parts. I still love Boy With Love. I still really love Make It Right. I still really love Dionysus. And anyone that wants to get into BTS, I still would suggest Love Yourself tier more than this album, but I still say check this out. It's a nice album and one that I have returned to quite a bit since it first came out. The next honorable mention is going to be Sunn's album, Life Metal, which this is their first album since 2015, and it really regained the focus that it had been missing for so long, that being Sunn. With all of the collaborations that they were doing and all of the kind of weird albums that they were doing and stuff like that, I really was wanting Sunn to return to their roots and just kind of be this massive, gargantuan, noisy drone metal band. And although there are some moments where I don't enjoy the vocals that they tack on, some of the ideas that they come through with, some of these sticky melodies that these guitars, these twin guitars come through with are absolutely phenomenal. It is super it flashes by. It's super long, it's over an hour's worth of material, but I don't notice it. I've listened to this album quite a few times since it came out, and I do not notice how fast it goes by until it's over. And that's coming from a band, a duo, an album that has a song like Aurora on it, which is over 20 minutes long. These towers of noise are massive, they are just destructive, they are hellish, and I love it to death, and I highly suggest you check this album out if you're interested in more of the kind of experimental, the weird side of extreme music. And now, without further ado, I'll get into the albums that got 8 out of 10s or higher in the month of April. Like I said, they'll all be in the description below if you want to go check out the reviews of them. First up, Periphery with Periphery 4 Hell Stand. Did not expect to love this album as much as I did. Progressive Metalcore Album of the Year, Progressive Metal Album of the Year thus far, and as a big fan of gent, progressive metal, progressive metalcore, love Dream Theater and Era and Born of Osiris, Veil of Maya. I've went over that so many times that, like, unless you're new to the channel, you're not going to know it. I love progressive music, but I'd never been able to get into Periphery, and it was very strange for me. I had never really gotten to how just overwrought and how drab and sometimes just garish a lot of their compositions felt, but on this album it felt very refined. It felt like they rectified all of the things that I did not like about their previous material, kind of reined it back, and just did what they were good at. Just these heavy, balls-to-the-wall riffs. Some of the mathcore on this album is insane. I love the opening track that is super long, all the progressions it goes through. Some of the guitar freaks out are amazing. I love the drum work on this album. The vocals are absolutely throat-shredding, but they can also be beautiful at times. So many great ideas went into this, and I love this album to death. I can see myself praising this album a lot as the year progresses. Next up, we got Numenorean with Adore, which I got to say, thank you to the band for posting this on, I believe, either their Facebook or Twitter. I didn't even notice until, like, a little bit after, but, yeah, so thank you for that. I did not expect that review to get as many views, even before the shout-out, because I thought they were fairly obscure. I guess I was wrong. Numenorean is kind of this post-black metal project. I love this album. The reason I reviewed this is because I stumbled on some of the singles, because I do follow Season of Mist. They're one of my favorite heavy metal labels, and when I found out that they were releasing these tracks from this Numenorean, even though I had not really heard of Numenorean before then, and even though they were signed to Season of Mist, this was the first time that I heard them, that I heard tracks from them, and I went back in time and I was like, holy crap, this could be a really great album. And then the singles just kept being fire from front to back, these post-black metal, atmospheric, so dense, so thick, foggy, atmospheric tracks. I was so excited, and it lived up to my expectations. What a great album. What an atmospheric album. One of the best black metal albums I have heard this year, although Sayer got a 10 out of 10, so it's gonna take a lot to beat that album. I still love that album to death. But Numenorean, fantastic project, fantastic album. Love all the atmospheres, love all the textures, love how finely detailed all of these tracks are. I believe I said in the review something that I stand by with the album, is that on the surface it seems so simple, it seems so just run-of-the-mill, cookie-cutter, dime a dozen, but when you dig into these compositions and you listen very closely and kind of pick apart all of the instrumentation that's going on, flashing by you in normal black metal-esque fashion, it's still a really, really finely just technical album, I gotta say. And these tracks are long for the most part. They don't get in and out fast, so if you don't like it, you're probably not gonna like it. I love the parts that feel like classic black metal. Just, it's a great album. Next up, I gotta shout out the Ovaryrot album, Non-Flesh Scarring. This is one of the most experimental, like, really, really deep underground metal albums that I've heard in a while. Now, there's always albums in the underground that stay very just kind of, like, experimental, because they're not really having to abide by a major label breathing down their neck to make it this way or that way. They don't really have, like, a gigantic fan base that's saying, you gotta make this album this way, it has to sound this way, and if it doesn't sound this way, then you've sold out, you're not as good. So Ovaryrot had the chance to kind of do something different. Now, Ulf Nyland is a part of this band. He is also from Miscarriage, so I do enjoy that project as well. I was very excited for this, and it's an experimental death grind album with synths incorporated, which is one of the most interesting things I've heard in a death grind album in a while. I understand that this is very kind of idiosyncratic. It's not going to be for everyone, and it does have a lot of things that are going to be so ferocious and so visceral that it's going to be an instant turnoff for anyone that's not really into extreme forms of music, but I really appreciated it a lot. I really love the experimentation on it, and the synths really do add this dimension. There are some parts that do feel a little bit Death Grind 101, but it's not enough to really detract from the entire project as a whole. And then finally, we got Foxygen with Seeing Other People. I love this album to death. I have been jamming this album so much because I filmed the review quite a few days before it came up, and I had just been listening to this album over and over, and I'm uncovering new things every single time. Can't get enough of this album. I love this retro vintage feel that it has, calling back to the 80s. The mixing is fantastic. I love how emotional this album feels from front to back, and the cracked vocals really do add nice dimension. I love sometimes the punky delivery of it. The instrumentation is so psychedelic, so drifty. I love all the influences that they take from like Rolling Stones and Pink Floyd and Journey and many, many more. David Bowie, Elton John, all those good bands and artists, and it's a fantastic album. Haven't been able to get enough of it, and yeah, it's a great album. I suggest it so much. So yeah, definitely check all of these albums out. Say Jay Morris, the review guy sent you. I highly suggest all of these. Like I said, the reviews are going to be in the description, and in the end screen I'll link the previous albums I liked. If you enjoyed this video, you can like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads, and I'll talk to you guys next time. But until then, you know who it is. It's Jay Morris, the review guy, and I'm signing off saying farewell.